Our first race is in progress. It's race number 380 on the overall programme. Race number 1 for today, the final of the under-17 women's Coxed Quad Scull. In lane 1, we have a crew from Redlands. In lane 2, Canberra Girls Grammar. In lane 3, Queenwood. In lane 4, a composite between Sydney Rowing Club, Hunter Valley Grammar School, Loreto Kirribilli School and St Catherine's School. In lane 5, a composite between Rockhampton Grammar and the University of Queensland. In lane 6, University of Queensland and Toowong composite. In lane 7, Centenary, and in lane 8, Melbourne Girls Grammar.
And Lizzie, we've already got the, well, we're just about to get the 500 metre splits up in this opening race of day 6 of the Sydney International Rowing Regatta. And here we have got them up. Sydney Composite in front, 3:36.28. Canberra Girls Grammar in second, just 0.27 of a second behind them. Centenary further back in third, and then Rockhampton Grammar. But it's fairly tight through the opening 500 metres. The first 6 boats very much next to each other, and the 2 quickest boats through, Sydney Composite, who are leading this race. They were the first crew through in semi-final number 2. Rockhampton Grammar Composite, that's combined with the Uni of Queensland, so a Queensland crew, that one in lane 5. They're a little bit further back at the moment, but they won semi-final number 1. But at the moment, it's the crew that won semi-final number 2 that are in front. That has got Sarah Abrams, who was 4th in the single, the under-17 women's single, and also Lily Eales, who won gold in that particular event. So that's a strong crew out in front, Lizzie, in lane 4.
It sure is, yep. And we've also got in that crew Lily Gavin and Sarah Abrams, who won gold in the double scull at certainly at the New South Wales State Championships. And I can't remember if they won yesterday, but certainly a really strong crew. That Sydney Composite, Sydney, or you can see the St Catherine's School zoot suit, then the Sydney Rowing Club zoot suit, the Loreto Kirribilli zoot suit, and the Hunter Valley Grammar School zoot suit.
So we've got the 1K splits through now, 3:36.28. Sydney Composite through the first 1,000 metres. Canberra Girls Grammar in second, and Centenary third. Rockhampton Grammar in 4th place. So we'll get the 1500s shortly, but it's that crew, the Sydney Composite crew out in front. Amelia Cooper, Lily Eales, Sarah Abrams and Lily Gavin, coxed by Grace Harris. Of course, Lily Eales, the daughter of John Eales, famous rugby player.
Indeed, we've had plenty of rugby influence, I think, over the course of the regatta. So they're just crossing through the 1,500 metre mark now in a time of 5 minutes 28.78. Sitting in second position, the crew from Canberra Girls Grammar. Neve James, Madeline McGuinness, Georgina Wallace and Jenna Order, coxed by Andrea Newham, coached by Caroline Pipers and Jodie Groothoff, who've been there doing such a good job at Canberra Girls Grammar for a few years now. And those 2 crews look well ahead. Yeah, they do. I think it's about a boat length, you could say, back to the rest of the field. You can see Sydney Rowing Club in 2 seat. That is Lily Gavin in 2 seat, you can see. And in the stroke seat is Sarah Abrams from Hunter Valley Grammar School. As I mentioned, 4th in that single. It's a very strong crew, as Lily Gavin as well, part of that winning double at the state championship. So 1K left, I should say 250 metres left, and it's 1 boat length the lead for the Sydney Composite crew out the front. There's going to have to be a response to their left, and you can see a crew over on that far side, which is Canberra Girls Grammar. Neve James, Madeline McGuinness, Georgina Wallace and Jenna Order, coxed by Andrea Newham, who are trying to make a play at the Sydney Composite crew, who are powering down the middle of the course. They were the fastest through in semi-final number 2. It looks as though they could be the fastest through in the final as well and claim gold, but Canberra Grammar are not going to give this up with a fight. It's been a terrific last 250 metres or so, but I think Sydney Composite have done enough just to hold them off. You can see crews coming through the middle. Uni of Queensland have got a couple, and that Rockhampton Grammar, they're all coming for the bronze medal, but no one is going to beat the Sydney Composite crew for gold. Gold to Sydney Composite. Silver will go the way of the ACT and Canberra Girls Grammar. Bronze will be tight. It'll just go the way of Rockhampton Grammar and the Uni of Queensland. But terrific sculling from that Sydney Composite, Sydney Hunter Valley Grammar, Loreto Kirribilli and St Catherine's School combined for a win in the opening race of day 6.
What a great start to our racing. A fine win there in the under-17 women's Coxed Quad Scull for the crew from Sydney Rowing Club, Hunter Valley Grammar School, Loreto Kirribilli and St Catherine's School. In second position, Canberra Girls Grammar School. In third, Rockhampton Grammar University of Queensland Composite. In fourth, the University of Queensland Toowong Composite. In fifth, Centenary. In sixth, Queenwood. In seventh, Melbourne Girls Grammar. In eighth, Redlands. The time for that race, 7 minutes 19.48. The margins 3.46 and 1.40. Oh, 0.05 University of Queensland Toowong missed out by. What a great race.
Yeah, from start to finish, a cracking race, Leslie, and let's hope we get another one here.
I'm pretty sure we will in the final of the under-17 men's Coxed Quad Scull. The title holders, Nudgee College, aren't here. We've got lane 1, Newington. Lane 2, a composite between Townsville and James Cook University and Riverway Rowing Club. In lane 3, St Augustine's School, New South Wales. In lane 4, a composite of Tasmania University and Buckingham. In lane 5, the Southport School. In lane 6, a composite between Rockhampton Grammar, Centenary and Nepean Rowing Clubs. In lane 7, Newington, and in lane 8, Kinross Walleroy from Orange.
We're just awaiting a start. As you can see, the cloud is clearing, and Lizzie, it's expected to be a nice fine day after about 10 or 11 a.m. So,
well, let's hope so, because it's been very rainy and miserable this morning. Hello to the crowds, and also good morning to Redlands School, who we know are watching on the live stream in that special classroom they've set up. They'll have watched their crew in the previous race.
I'm just trying to work out, will they be at school today on a Saturday?
Oh, that's true. Some of them might be, but
Maybe
hopefully more
back.
of them are in the crowd. So if you're from Redlands and you're in the crowd, give us a wave.
Look at that. Big crowd in, so don't let the rain keep you away from coming to the Sydney International Rowing Regatta, day number 6. Huge day today and tomorrow. So we're not too far away, but boats don't look too ready at this point. The winners of this particular event last year was Nudgee College. Plenty enjoying the festivities around the centre. As I said, Nudgee College from Brisbane, the winners of this event in 2018.
We did have some very heavy rain here in Penrith last night. I'm wondering if some of that might have played a little bit of havoc with the audio system, where the guy in the, or lady, in the hut to the side of the course is lining up the bow balls to make sure everybody's bow ball starts in the same place. They're off now.
Great shot that, and very tight as you'd expect off the start. You can see closest to camera on this near side is Kinross Walleroy, as Lizzie said, from Orange, and they've got the orange bow number as well.
How serendipitous.
And out in front at the moment just is the crew in lane 4, Tasmania University Composite. That's a combination of Tasmania University and also Buckingham. And they've got Sam Mounter and Angus Painter from Tasmania University, who came 4th in the under-17 men's double. And maybe they've just slipped back because it's lane 7, Newington, who weren't one of the fastest through or weren't one of the top crews through in the semi-finals. They're currently leading as we head towards the 500-metre mark. William Stormont, Carl Koverick, Hugh Go Hobbs and Leo Burkett Doyle, coxed by Ben Dewhurst and coached by Ralph Hobbs. That's the black and white you can see, lane 7, and lane 5 not too far behind either. That's the Southport School, first in semi-final 1. And Lizzie, they've got Lockie Wright and Mackenzie Branch, who won gold in the under-17 men's double yesterday. So look out for them as well. You can see Kinross Walleroy just slipping back there. The red boat of Tasmania University Composite just ahead of the Southport School as it stands currently. As we hear a big roar from the crowd as the victorious crews come to the bank for that under-17 women's Coxed Quad. those medal ceremonies coming up shortly as we get the 500 metre splits through. Tasmania University and Buckingham with a time of 1:36.33 through the first 500. The Southport School in second, Newington third, Rockhampton Grammar fourth, St Augustine's New South Wales fifth, and Kinross Wallaroi sixth. And I tell you what, Lizzie, there's not much splitting these boats.
We thought we might have an exciting race, and indeed we are. As you would expect, the crews in the centre of the course are the ones who have been the fastest and got the best placings as we've gone through the rounds. And that's how we get that kind of arrow shape formation. And certainly lanes 4 and 5 battling it out there. The composite between Tasmania University and Buckingham of Hayden Mounter, Jared Connolly, Samuel Mounter and Angus Painter. And a painter in the Cox's seat, family affair.
Do you know where Buckingham's from?
So that's a Tasmanian crew. Great to see them putting a composite together there of some of their best under-17 men. They've got a really strong talent pathway program. Their state talent pathway coordinator, Grant Pryor, who goes around the state providing schools with support with testing and then helping identify some of the most talented athletes, and the development pathway just making sure they do have composites like this and get a chance to race together.
And two very similar Zooties as well. So that Tasmanian boat out in front at the moment of the Queensland boat from the Southport School. And then a little further back you can see in lane 6, Rockhampton Grammar composite with Centenary and Nepean. That has Julia Calanta from Nepean just over the water. He's come over here for a row, and Harry Knott from Centenary as well. It was Calanta and Knott who won bronze in the under-17 double. As you can see, it's still Tasmania Uni and Buckingham out in front. The Southport School in second, only half a second further back. Then Rockhampton Grammar third, Newington in fourth. I think it's going to be between those four for the spots on the day. As you can see, St Augustine's New South Wales, they're in lane 3. You can just see them with the bright green hats on. They've just slipped back a little bit, but maybe a race in 2 potentially for gold and silver, because even lane 6, the Rockhampton Grammar composite have slipped a little bit out of this one as we head towards the 1500 metre mark.
Some great footage there on the screen if you're watching on the live stream. We can see there that the coxes in these boats are lying down in the bows. They've got a little steering handle where they can move the rudder, which is back at the stern end of the boat. And you can see there, the zooming in now on the cox of the Tasmanian University Buckingham composite. That's the Cox Hamish Painter.
And you can see there in 2 seat Jared Connolly. He's from Buckingham Rowing Club. And then you've got Hayden Mounter, Sam Mounter and Angus Painter from Tasmania University around him. And, well, they're pulling this back a little bit. The Southport School from Queensland, and even the Rockhampton Grammar Centenary and Nepean composite. You can see Julia Calanta. He's in 2 seat of that boat just to the left of screen in the blue, dark blue and light blue Zooty. As we see those splits, the final splits we're going to get before the 2K. Here we go. It's 1 second, the gap between Tasmania University and Buckingham. The Southport School in second, Rockhampton Grammar composite in third, Newington in 4th place. And they might have just slipped back a little bit, Rockhampton Grammar, Centenary and Nepean. So here we go. Can the Southport School overhaul the Tasmanians? The Tasmanians, I should say. Tasmania up against Queensland with 300 metres to travel down the course. They've held the lead for much of this race, and now they've got 250 metres left. That's it. 250 metres, about a minute left in this race. Can they power themselves through to the end? Tasmania University? The Southport School second. Third is still Rockhampton Grammar composite. 4th, Newington in lane 7. Then St Augustine's in 5th. Kinross Wallaroi are well back in 6th at the moment. So it's a race in 2, you sense, for the goal. Well, maybe not. The Southport School could have slipped back, and this Rockhampton Grammar composite crew are powering through. Could they claim silver medal? Tasmania University are doing a mighty job to hold off the Queenslanders at the moment. They approach the dark red boys. That means 100 metres left. The red boat of Tasmania University and Buckingham still ahead of the Southport School. The Rockhampton Grammar composite in the bronze medal position at the moment, but they are extending their lead. The Tasmania University composite, gold goes to Tasmania. Silver will go to the Southport School in Brisbane, and third to the Rockhampton Grammar Composite. And don't they love it? They're on the dais. Cracking race from the under-17 men's Coxed Quad Scull. Last year it was Brisbane and Nudgee College who took it out. This year it's going to Tassie. Kinross Wallaroi 6th, Newington 7th, and 8th to Riverway and Townsville JCU. Aren't they pumped, Lizzie? Look at that.
They certainly are. They certainly are. Congratulations to our composite from Tasmania University of Buckingham, crossing the line there in a provisional time of 6 minutes 38.04 seconds. Second was the Southport School. They were 2.99 of a second behind, so just under a length. And then third, the composite from Rockhampton Grammar, Centenary and Nepean Rowing Club. The margin 1.78. The presentation of medals for the Under-17 Women's Coxed Quad Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Barbara Fenner, Life Member of Rowing Australia. Third place and bronze medalists representing Rockhampton Grammar and the University of Queensland. Caitlin Lythel from the University of Queensland Boat Club. Georgia Weston from the University of Queensland Boat Club. Sophia Whiteman from the University of Queensland Boat Club. Laura Cypher from Rockhampton Grammar School. Their cox Priscilla Russell from the University of Queensland Boat Club. The crew was coached by Robin Fay, Ben Spitz and Richard Powell. Second place and silver medalists, Canberra Girls Grammar School. Neve James. Madeline McGuinness. Georgina Wallace. Jenna Order. Their cox, Andrea Newham. The crew was coached by Caroline Pipers and Jodie Grutoff. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2019, the composite of Sydney Rowing Club, Hunter Valley Grammar School, Loreto Kirribilli and St Catherine's School. Amelia Cooper from St Catherine's. Lily Eales from Loreto Kirribilli. Sarah Abrams from Hunter Valley Grammar School. Lily Gavin from Sydney Rowing Club. And their cox, Grace Harris from Loreto Kirribilli. The crew was coached by Brendan Longman, Michael Benarius and Tom Herborn. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our Australian champions and medalists in the Under-17 Women's Quad Scull. Back to racing, and we have the final of the Under-19 Women's Quad Scull in progress. In Lane 1, Tasmania University. In Lane 2, Rockhampton Grammar, Newcastle Grammar, University of WA and Melbourne Rowing Club composite. Lane 3, St Hilda's has scratched. In Lane 4, a composite between Loreto Normanhurst, UTS Haberfield Rowing Club and the Dreboyne Rowing Club. In Lane 5, a composite between Sydney Rowing Club, Rockhampton Grammar, the University of Western Australia and Swan River. In lane 6, Kinross Walleroy School. In lane 7, a composite from Canberra between Capital Lakes and Radford College. And in lane 8, Commercial from Queensland.
And you can see out in front at the moment is the Sydney Composite crew through the first 500 metres, 1:40.34. They were the fastest crew through in heat number 1. Alongside them is the Loreto Normanhurst Composite in lane 5. You can just see them on screen. They were the fastest crew through in heat number 2 in lanes 4 and 5. So it's a 3.5 second gap that the Sydney Composite holds over Kinross Walleroy, the country rowing club from Orange. Loreto Normanhurst in 3rd, Capital Lakes and Radford in 4th, Rockhampton Grammar in 5th, Tasmania University 6th, Commercial in 7th. As it stands at the moment, look at that lead. It is increasing by the second. That boat has Grace Cypher. She was 4th in the under-19 women's single. Also Ella Hudson, who won silver in the double with Sophia Carmody, and she came 6th in the single as well. So a very, very strong boat. You can see Ella Hudson is stroking that boat. Elizabeth O'Callaghan is in the bow seat. And then you've got Claire Netherway in 3 and Grace Cypher 4th in that single in 2 seat. And look at that, Lizzie. That's a really, really big gap at this stage in the race.
It certainly is. It's a really, really great crew, I think, coached by a combination of coaches, but really Lachlan Carter, the driving force behind a number of junior, which is what under-19s are internationally, a number of junior crews, the coach of the silver medal winning crew in the women's Coxed 4 last year, coach this year of the Youth 8, who's going to represent Sydney tomorrow at the Interstate Regatta. This is a good-looking crew. Ella Hudson, fantastic school rower when she was up at Somerville House, I think it is, up in Queensland, and setting up a really good rhythm here. She's medalled already. She's shown really good form all the way through the regatta. After a couple of weeks ago having a bit of a twinge with her muscles, she's obviously sorted it out, and she's such a strong rower. Beautiful rhythm.
As you can see, the 1,500 metre timing point just behind them now, 5:12.45. The lead out to 7.72 seconds. Loreto Normanhurst in 3rd. And as you can see, the camera can't even catch up with the silver and bronze medal positions at the moment. That is how much that the Sydney Composite crew lead by. And we probably shouldn't call it the Sydney Composite because they've actually got 3 rowers from outside of Sydney. They've got the WA University of WA boat clubs, Claire Netherway, Grace Cypher from Rockhampton in Rockhampton Grammar in Queensland, and then Liz O'Callaghan from Swan River Rowing Club. So a crew which is very much dispersed across the country, but a very strong crew at that. And look at them driving through in unison with 200 metres, 100 metres now to travel as they pass the 1,750 metre mark. It's about 150 left, and they're not far away from a gold medal. The battle for silver is a little tighter. Kinross Walleroy in lane 6 and Loreto Normanhurst in lane 4. They're battling it out. And also Capital Lakes and Radford College. They want in on the dais. They want a bronze medal, and they're not too far away. So could that just push these crews into a little bit of overdrive, so the silver and bronze medal positions? One crew that's not pushing into overdrive at all, still as smooth as ever, is the Sydney Composite crew, who are ahead, and they've got 50 metres to go. They've just got to cross the line now, and they will be Australian champions in the under-19 women's quad scull. Second place is still Kinross Walleroy, but the Sydney Composite simply unstoppable in the under-19 women's quad scull. A dominant performance, a crew which included Queensland and WA rowers. And Kinross Walleroy will power home to snatch silver. 3rd place will go the way of the Loreto Normanhurst Composite. And they came home strong, but not strong enough to end up on the dais. Capital Lakes and Radford finish in 4th place. 5th will go the way of Rockhampton Grammar Composite over on the far side. Tasmania University, they couldn't quite do it in this one. And it is a 7th place finish for Commercial.
Confirming the results of that final in the under-19 women's quad scull. A fine win there for the composite from Sydney Rowing Club, Rockhampton Grammar, University of Western Australia and Swan River. In second, Kinross Walleroy. In third, the composite between Loreto Normanhurst, UTS and Drummoyne of Sydney. In fourth, Capital Lakes Radford composite from Canberra. In fifth, the Rockhampton Grammar School and Newcastle Grammar School, University of WA and Melbourne composite. In sixth, Tasmanian University. In seventh, Commercial. Winning time, 7 minutes, 0.09 of a second, and the margin, 8.72, 4.15. The presentation of medals for the under-17 men's Coxed Quad Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Barbara Fenner, life member of Rowing Australia. Third and bronze medalist, the Rockhampton Grammar composite. Reese Byrne from Rockhampton Grammar. Dua Kalantar from Nepean Rowing Club. Harry Knott from Centenary. Riley Godwin from Rockhampton Grammar. And their cox, Jack Corner from Rockhampton Grammar. The crew was coached by John Smythe, Michael Opstelton and Daniel Waddell. Second place and silver medalists, the Southport School. George Collins. Jack Breen. Lockie Wright. Mackenzie Branch. And their cox, Lockie McTaggart. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2019, Tasmania University and Buckingham Rowing Club. Hayden Mounter. Jared Connolly. Samuel Mounter. Angus Painter. And their cox, Hamish Painter. The crew is coached by Mark Stott and Wilson Muir. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our 2019 champions and medalists in the under-17 men's Coxed Quad Scull. Meanwhile, out on the course, the final of the under-19 men's quad scull. In lane 1, a composite from the Cathedral School, University of Queensland and Rockhampton Grammar, all of them from Queensland. In lane 2, Sydney University Boat Club. In lane 3, Launceston Church Grammar. In lane 4, Swan River Fremantle West Australian composite. In lane 5, the Southport School with the Scots College. In lane 6, Kinross Walleroy. In lane 7, Banks. In lane 8, Geelong Grammar.
And out in front, it is the Swan River Composite. They came first in heat number 2, went straight through to the final. And it's Kinross Walleroy who were second in their heat, who are currently in second place as it stands. The Southport School Composite, they got through heat 1 in first place, and they're just drifting a little bit in lane 5. So the Kinross Wallaroi boys doing well at the moment. Harry Ponder, Tom Richardson, Cody Kelso and Richard King, coached by Sarah Cook and Tobias Weir-Candler. We'll get a look at their 1K splits in just a second. The crew out in front, though, is Cameron Glover from Swan River Rowing Club, Harvey Rupp from WA Rowing Club, Digby Marshall from Fremantle, and Hayden Coote from Swan River Rowing Club, coached by Mark Beer, Joe Tamegi and Tom Gatty. You can see the Fremantle sculler Digby Marshall. He's in 2-seat. The WA rower Harvey Rupp in bow. And then the 2 Swan River scullers Cameron Glover and Hayden Coote in 3 and 4. And Kinross Wallaroi have closed that gap down pretty quickly. It was about just over half a second at the 500 metre mark. It has extended, but it's not much at all. It's just 1 second the gap. Not much to be concerned about if you're a fan of Kinross Wallaroi. 3rd and 4th is almightily close. And what a row from Sydney University, who had to go via the repechage to make it to this final. They got through the repechage, and now they're making it count. And they're currently in 3rd position. The Southport School in 4th. Launceston Church Grammar 5th, Bank 6th, Cathedral Townsville 7th, and Geelong Grammar, the Victorians, in 8th place. But there's the crew leading. The crew from WA, we saw a WA crew get up in the last race. Could the West make it 2 from 2? We'll have to wait and see, because they're going to have to hold off some strong finishing Kinross Wallaroi boys. And also look at the crew in lane 5. Here they are. We knew they were going to be strong. The Southport School Composite, combined with the Scots College. You can see the Scots College sculler in 2-seat. That's Billy Sanders, who's a late sub into this particular race. But they have pulled back quite a margin. They're about 2.5 seconds from first place, maybe even 3 seconds from first place at the 1K. And now all of a sudden, they're just winding up the legs and driving towards a gold medal in this particular event. We'll get the 1,500 metre times shortly. It's not far away. But they have just warmed up in the last 500 metres, and they are getting set to launch themselves into this last 500 metres. So here we go. Look at this. The Southport School and the Scots College composite crew maybe even just ahead. They are just ahead. I don't know if that's correct, the split time of 1.5 seconds. It was definitely a lot tighter than that, but it could be 1.5 seconds in the next few minutes, because look at them just power through and leaving the Swan River Composite behind them. The Queenslanders are really turning it on now. Kinross Wallaroi in 3rd place, Sydney University in 4th. Can the boys who went through the repechage upstage the boys in the middle lane and get a bronze medal? We'll have to wait and see in the closing 250 metres or so. Is there a response from the Western Australians? Kinross Wallaroi may even be a chance at snatching a silver medal. Sydney Uni, though, are going absolutely nowhere. They're just sitting there in 4th place, waiting to strike. 250 metres to travel down the course. So the Southport School ahead. But here is the response from the Swan River Composite. We knew it was going to come, and we know how good Kinross Wallaroi are over the last 250 metres. That can really turn it on. But it's the Southport School ahead as they enter the last 100 metres. Just behind them, Swan River Composite, Kinross Wallaroi in 3rd, Sydney University. Can they upstage the boys in the middle lane and get a bronze medal? They're still sitting there in 4th, but it's the Southport School who are behind for the first 1,500 metres, who now take the lead and power through. They've got half a boat length now with about 50 metres to travel. Gold is going the way of the Queenslanders, and silver, look at Kinross Wallaroi come for silver. They won't get there. Swan River gets silver. Kinross Wallaroi bronze, and Sydney University, super effort from them in lane 2, get 4th place. Launceston Church Grammar 5th, Bank 6th, Cathedral Townsville Composite 7th, Geelong Grammar 8th. Congratulations to those boys. Big thumbs up. They're the gold medalists in the under-19 men's quad.
And in a provisional time of 6 minutes 23.63, the distance or the time between the Southport Schools composite and the Swan River Fremantle West Australian crew that came second, 2.04 of a second, and the bronze medalists 0.38 back. That was Kinross Walleroy. Fourth was Sydney University, fifth Launceston Church Grammar, sixth Bank, seventh Cathedral Townsville Composite, and eighth Geelong Grammar. So our next race will be equally exciting. We're moving up now to the 8s and we're going to the under-19 women's Coxed 8 final. In lane 2, we've got Geelong Grammar. In lane 3, a composite between Queenwood and Scull and Sydney University Boat Club. In lane 4, Geelong Grammar, that's the crew stroked by Maddie Atkins. The one in lane 2 is the crew stroked by Millie McCurdy. In lane 5, a crew from Toowong, supported by the Queensland Academy of Sport. In lane 6, the University of Queensland. In lane 7, a composite from Adelaide. In lane 8, Wesley College. The composite from Adelaide, St Peter's Girls, Loreto Marryatville, Seymour and St Ignatius Adelaide. You can see Wesley College there sitting on the start line. Quite relaxed.
And the crowd just getting ready for this 8 race. We've got a couple of 8s coming your way, the under-19 women's and then the under-19 men's Coxed 8, followed by some under-21 women's and men's quad sculls. So plenty more finals on the way. Look out for Toowong. They've got Phoebe Robinson and Laura Chancellor, who won the under-19 pair. They won gold in that, and Sophie Gerber and Lucy Hope, who were part of the crew, along with Phoebe Robinson and Laura Chancellor, who won gold in the under-19 Coxless 4. So they're the crew to beat. Toowong. Look out for Toowong. Give us a wave. Weather clearing. Perfect day to be in the crowd. Also a perfect day to be out there on the course as well, winning some medals. And that's what these ladies are just about to try and do. You can see them getting ready for the start. Here we go. So we're underway, race 3, 84. There's nothing better than seeing 8s on the water, Lizzie, especially when it's dead flat. We're going to get a cracking race, I sense here. Remember, Toowong, they were first through in the race for lanes. Geelong Grammar second. So that's lanes 5 and 4. And at the moment, not much between them. And even lanes 3, Queenwood and Adelaide Composite are right up there at this early point in the race.
Yeah, good-looking crews. We've got in that Toowong crew that you mentioned, we have Phoebe Robinson from last year's Australian Junior Coxless 4 and Laura Chancellor from last year's Australian Coxed 4. So really well-disciplined athletes, very determined and ferocious and ambitious. A good-looking crew, but it's always interesting when you get a composite, especially of so many places. And I know that the I'm sure he's there, the coach of the composite crew. One of the guys that would be really driving that would be Tom Durenbos from Loreto Marryatville. Also, a number of these crews, the girls in these crews, will be participating in their state pathway 8s program, which is where there is effectively an interstate competition between athletes of this age at the trials for the junior national team. The idea being to expose athletes like this to the trials process, and they can see the athletes who are actually up there knocking on the door of international representation, get an idea about it and see whether they like it and would like to have a go. So some of these athletes will be going for junior selection. Others will be going through their state pathway program into the Pathway 8s project and coming back out here again at the end of April when we have our underage team trials.
And it's really important to get that experience, isn't it? To just know what it's like.
And this has been a great opportunity, I think, for athletes across Australia to come back here again in April, see how the trials process works, see if high performance rowing is actually something they really want to do. The wonderful opportunity to get exposed to other coaches and to row with people from outside your school.
Well, here we go. It's Queenwood ahead. That's the Queenwood School and Sydney University composite. So in the race for lanes, I know it doesn't mean much, but they were 4th in the race for lanes. And now in first place through the opening 500 metres. And you can see the two crews we spoke about earlier, Geelong Grammar and Toowong, the two fastest crews through to this final. And it is Queenwood leading at the moment. You can see the two Sydney University sweep rowers, Sophie Houston and Danielle Stewart. They are in 3 and 4 seats at the moment, surrounded by the Queenwood rowers.
Yep, Alfie Young, who is the coach of the women at the Sydney University Boat Club. You can see him there on a bicycle. He's also the director of rowing at Queenwood School and does a really fantastic job with across all age groups, really. But he's last year's national coach for Wallace Russell, who represented the country in the under-23 lightweight women's single. She just missed out on a bronze medal by 0.02. So Alfie is no stranger to tough competition, and he and his coaches at Queenwood would have drilled these girls well.
And of course, we wish Wallace Russell all the best, because I know she hasn't been well this week. So hopefully see her back out on the water shortly, as we see Queenwood and Sydney Uni leading. Toowong in 2nd, and then Geelong Grammar 3rd, Wesley College in 4th, Uni of Queensland 5th, Seymour College composite in 6th, and Geelong Grammar in 7th place through the 1K. It was 2.5 seconds, the gap between Queenwood and Toowong. So maybe a little bit of an upset on the way, remembering that that Toowong crew has 4 rowers who won gold in the under-19 women's Coxless 4. So they're doing very, very well at the moment. And look at this. It's about a boat length now at the 1,250 metre mark. Toowong in 2nd. They're going to have to pull something out. And Geelong Grammar in 3rd place. Wesley College a little further back in 4th. There they are, the crew out in front. Ella Houston, Sophie Feely, Sophie Houston, Danielle Stewart, Lauren Smits, Alexandra Nell, Ingrid Holter, and Olivia O'Donnell. Coxed by Kira Osterdahl and coached by Adam de Koning. Kyron Glynn and Alfie Young, as Lizzie just mentioned. You can see the Cox, Kira Osterdahl, barking out instructions to her crew, who are increasing the lead. It was about a boat length at the 1,250 metre mark, and now it's even further, maybe a boat length and a half back to Toowong. And then in 3rd place, Geelong Grammar. Here we go, 1,500 metre splits, 5:02.60, the Queenwood and Sydney Uni composite. Toowong in 2nd, it's 4.5 seconds now. That's going to be difficult to pull back. Geelong Grammar in 3rd. I think the real tussle is going to be between Geelong Grammar and Toowong, who are currently in silver and bronze as it stands. There is the Queenwood composite, coached by Kieran Glynn, Alfie Young, Adam de Koning. They'll be proud of what they're seeing as it stands currently. And you can see over on this near side of the course, Geelong Grammar in lane number 8 are doing a decent, I should say Wesley College in lane number 8 are doing a very good job as it stands. Could they find their way into bronze medal contention, remembering that they were 7th through to this final in the race for lanes. But there's the crew out in front, Queenwood composite, combined with Sydney University, doing it easily at the moment. Toowong combined with the Queensland Academy of Sport and Geelong Grammar. But look at Wesley College. They really have come from nowhere. They're in 4th place at the 1,500 metre mark, about 4 seconds outside bronze medal contention. And now they're powering through. And from lane 8, they could snatch a bronze medal. There's no worries about the gold, though. That's going to stay in Sydney with the Queenwood and Sydney Uni composite. An emphatic performance from Queenwood and Sydney University. They take the Australian Championship Toowong are just holding on to silver at the moment. Geelong Grammar in bronze. Can Wesley pull something out? No, they won't. Toowong silver. Bronze goes the way of Geelong. Super finish from Wesley College, who finish 3.5 seconds outside the medals. UQ in 5th place, and 6th will go to the Adelaide Composite with a few crews in that boat. So there you go. Sydney with the gold in this particular race.
Fantastic row there, wasn't it? Yes, the Queenwood School and Sydney University Boat Club composite coming across the line first. Toowong, supported by the QAS in 2nd, Geelong Grammar 3rd. Wesley College 4th, University of Queensland 5th, Adelaide Composite 6th and Geelong Grammar 7th. The provisional time 6 minutes 43.60. That's shifting. Okay, we're going to move across now to some medal presentations. The presentation of medals for the Under-19 Women's Quad Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Brian Weir, Rowing Australia Director and Chair of the National Participation Commission. Third place and bronze medalists, the composite from Loreto Normanhurst, UTS and Drummoyne Rowing Club. Sarah Fard from Drummoyne Rowing Club. Laura Gurley from Loreto Normanhurst. Laura Wunderlich from UTS Haberfield Rowing Club. Lucy Illick from Loreto Normanhurst. The crew was coached by Matt Curtin, Robin Mackney and Hallie Chapman. Second place and silver medalists, Kinross Walleroy School. Isabella Scammell. Lucy Jenkins. Bridget Yeomans. Freya Neville. The crew is coached by Sarah Cook. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2019, the composite from Sydney, Rockhampton Grammar, University of WA and Swan River. Elizabeth O'Callaghan from Swan River Rowing Club. Claire Netherway from the University of Western Australia Boat Club. Grace Seifer from Rockhampton Grammar, and unable to be with us due to other commitments, Ella Hudson from Sydney Rowing Club. The crew was coached by Lachlan Carter, Robin Fay and Donovan Check. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our Australian champions and medalists in the Under-19 Women's Quad Scull. On to our next race, the final of the Under-19 Men's Coxed 8. In lane 1, Wesley College. In lane 2, Scotch Oakburn. In lane 3, St Peter's College, Pembroke School and Torrens. In lane 4, the composite between West Australian, Melbourne University, Grammar, Swan River and Mercantile. In lane 5, Scotch College, Victoria. In lane 6, Hutchins from Tasmania. In lane 7, Xavier. And in lane 8, a composite between Toowong, Sydney University Boat Club and Commercial.
So WA Rowing Club composite in lane 4 in second place at the moment, and Scotch College Victoria leading the way at the 500 metre mark, and there are the times 1:25.82 the Victorians lead. the West Australians, who are a second and a half behind. St Peter's Composite in third, Hutchins fourth, Scotch Oakburn fifth, Xavier in sixth, Toowong Composite in seventh, Wesley College in eighth. So remembering that Scotch College were first through in Heat 1, they are leading currently, and the WA Rowing Club Composite. Now that's combined with Western Australian Rowing Club, Melbourne Uni, Geelong Grammar, Swan River and Mercantile. So plenty in that boat in lane number 4. Crews from Victoria and also Western Australia. But it's the Victorians leading at the moment in lane 5, Scotch College Victoria. Gus Pomerzel, Richie Johnson, Ben Simons, Will Dixon, John Kilroe-Smith, Jack Cameron, Max Bloom, Leo Price, coxed by Leo Miller and coached by James Murray. And it's about a third of a boat length at the moment. Scotch College Victoria over WA Rowing Club Composite. We'll get the 1,000 metre splits for you. But there you go, powering through the water. Coached by James Murray. And here we go. You can see what a shot that is from the drone. The cloud clearing after a very wet start to the day in Penrith. So Scotch College Victoria 257.20 in the lead. WA Rowing Club Composite in second. And at the moment it's going as per the heats and the repecharges and how the teams qualified. Like the Chevron and St Peter's Composite in third. Hutchins in fourth. You can see Hutchins in lane 6. Just to the right of the boat going up the centre of the course.
Very interesting from the perspective of our long-term development. As Razor and I keep mentioning, we're seeing the future of Australian rowing at this regatta, where we have the Open Schools Championship as part of the overall regatta. Just looking down here, Wesley College are from Victoria, Scotch Oakburn from Victoria, that composite there coached by Matt Ryan from Victoria, Scotch College from Victoria, Xavier from Victoria. Some real strength in depth there, and hopefully they'll be coming through the pathway program, and they'll be the future there of our rowing. Certainly Victoria in a bit of a rebuilding phase, and this is really exciting. And sitting with my New South Wales hat on, I'm a little bit concerned. There's not very many people there from New South Wales.
Well, it's going to be a big day tomorrow. Who is going to claim bragging rights? We'll wait and see. Well, hang on here, Lizzie.
Oh, yes.
The Victorians were leading. Well, hold on to your hat here. It might be the West Australian crew who are pulling them back. There is a little bit of Victoria in that crew as well. Geelong Grammar, Mercantile as well. So there is, it's not quite a fully West Australian crew in the lead at the moment, as we see those 1,500 metre splits come through. 4:30.12. Scotch College Victoria, who were ahead. All of a sudden, what has happened? They were leading by probably half a boat length, and that's turned around in a flash.
Yeah, very interesting. So we race over 2,000 metres. That's the distance that they have at the Olympics. And that can be neatly divided into 4 quarters. And with a strong race plan, a crew can bide its time. I always think that rowing is the epitome of deferred gratification, that it's about what happens right at the end. Your training that you do for hours and hours and hours is about what happens months down the line, and the same in a race. What you do in the first 500 obviously contributes to what happens in the last 500, and some of it's about not going too early, but certainly having a strong race plan, having confidence in each other as a crew, and I think that's what we're seeing from this composite crew here.
Yeah, the question is, I think they have gone a little too early, the Scotch College Victorian crew, because WA Rowing Club Composite, who came first in heat number 2, have just surged right over the top of them. And in second place, they've slipped back. Scotch College Victoria, they may even be out of the silver medal position. It's been such a strong performance from the West Australians. And West Australia's wonderful start to day 6 continues. The Victorians will just hang on to silver. They're coming quickly for bronze. And it goes the way of St Peter's Composite. Hutchins in 4th. But it's WA and a little bit of Victoria sprinkled in there as well, who claim gold in the under-19 men's Coxed 8.
Yes, indeed. So that composite of West Australian, Melbourne University, Geelong Grammar, Swan River, Mercantile Rowing Club, coached by Matt Ryan, across the line in first place. Second, Scotch College Victoria. Third, the St Peter's Composite from South Australia. Fourth, Hutchins from Tasmania. Fifth, the Toowong Sydney University Commercial Composite. Sixth, Scotch Oakburn. Seventh, Xavier. Eighth, Wesley College. Time for that winning crew, 6 minutes, 1.39 seconds. The presentation of medals for the Under-19 Men's Quad Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by Brian Weir, Board Director of Rowing Australia and Chair of the National Participation Commission. Third place and bronze medalists: Kinross Wallaroi School, Henry Ponder, Thomas Richardson, Cody Kelso, Richard King. The crew was coached by Sarah Cook and Tobias Ware-Candler. Second place and silver medalists, our composite from WA, from Swan River, Fremantle and West Australian Rowing Club. Cameron Glover from Swan River Rowing Club. Harvey Rupp from West Australian Rowing Club. Digby Marshall from Fremantle. Hayden Coote from Swan River Rowing Club. The crew was coached by Mark Beer, Joe Tamigi and Tom Gatty. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2019, the Southport School and Scots College Composite. Zachary Botsman from the Southport School. Billy Sanders from Scots College. Max Kossel from the Southport School. And Harrison French from the Southport School. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our 2019 Australian champions and medalists in the Under-19 Men's Quad Scull. The presentation of medals for the Under-19 Women's Coxed 8 Championship of Australia. The medals in the Under-19 Women's Coxed 8 will be presented by John Keogh, head coach of the Hancock Prospecting Women's National Training Centre. Third place and bronze medalists, Geelong Grammar School. Flora Mackenzie. Sophie Ward. Millie Friday. Emma Kent. Sarah McTaggart. Olivia Moore. Brooke Pithy. Maddie Atkins. Meg Watkins. Second place and silver medalists, Toowong Rowing Club. Ella Mackenzie. Elkie Marriott. Emma Tucker. Sophia Tully. Sophie Gerber. Lucy Hope. Phoebe Robinson. Laura Chancellor. Georgia Peterson, their Cox. The crew was coached by Andrew Gerber, Kieran Dwyer and Ben Southwell. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2019, the Queenwood School and Sydney University Boat Club. Ellen Houston from Queenwood. Sophia Feely from Queenwood. Sophie Houston from Sydney University Boat Club. Danielle Stewart from Sydney University Boat Club. Lauren Smiths from Queenwood. Alexandra Nell from Queenwood. Ingrid Holt-Hoyer from Queenwood. Olivia O'Donnell from Queenwood. And their Cox, Kira Osterdahl. The crew was coached by Adam de Koning, Kieran Glynn and Alfie Young. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate our Australian champions and medalists in the under-19 women's Coxed 8.
Thank you, Lizzie. Thank you to Ben Homer for the last hour as well. We're nearing the closing stages of the under-21 women's quad scale final. A really tight race. It's been all the way down the course between these top three crews in lanes 2, 4 and 6. Swan River lane 2, Sydney Rowing Club in 4 and the Australian National University in lane 3. These crews are stacked with the athletes who did well in the double scull event yesterday as well. So it's not surprising to see them at the head of the field, and still that Swan River combination on the far side of the course, 0.71 of a second. The splits have been 0 point something all the way down the course between these crews. Now the University of Queensland has moved up as well in lane 5 to be a good chance of the silver medal, and going out after our race leaders as well, if those times are right, although I don't think they are. It's still lanes 2, 4 and 6, the 3 on screen. They've been the top 3 all the way down the course with not much between them. Leah Franklin of Swan River with Emma Wilson, Charlotte Hill and Lauren Hutton on the far side of the course. Leah Franklin won the single scull, the under-21 single scull a couple of days ago. Then Sydney Rowing Club, the defending champions in the centre of the course. Lauren Lyon and Crystal Piper won this event last year, joined now by India Thompson and Isabel Johnson as well. And then lane 6, the Australian National University, Lily Reardon, Alula Beth Collins, Nicola Greenland and Bianca Gillett in that crew, just back in 3rd place at this stage. So our medalists have been decided, but the order's still very close. Swan River on the far side, Sydney Rowing Club in the centre of the course. It looks like those two will be fighting it out just ahead of the ANU in 3rd place. And this Sydney Rowing Club crew, which has trailed by the narrowest of margins right the way through this race, is moving up alongside Swan River now to challenge in the closing strokes as they're well inside the final 100 metres. It is Swan River on the far side, Sydney Rowing Club coming at them with only 3 or 4 strokes to go. Still the West Australians have their boat narrowly in front, Swan River and Sydney Rowing Club. Swan River will get the win, and they'll get it by almost half a length. Swan River first, Sydney in 2nd place. 3rd goes to the Australian National University, and then well back we have 4th place, the West Australian Rowing Club on lane 7. 5th will be the crew from Buckingham in Tasmania. 6th place, the University of Queensland in lane 5. And then over to the far side, University of Western Australia will be 7th, and the Adelaide Rowing Club in 8th.
That's pretty amazing. In that Sydney Rowing Club crew there, the stroke girl was Ella Hudson, who literally just stroked the junior quad to a gold medal. So, sorry, we didn't have notice of that substitution, but what an amazing job she just did. Crossing the line there, that under-21 women's quad from Swan River. In a time of 6 minutes 55.98. The Sydney Rowing Club quad coming second, just 1.08 of a second behind, and ANU 2.73 seconds behind that in 3rd place. In 4th, West Australian Rowing Club in 5th, Buckingham in 6th, University of Queensland in 7th, University of WA, and in 8th, Adelaide. Right, off we go to the next race, the under-21 men's quad scull. It's all happening here. We've got 10 minutes between races, which should mean that it's not quite so busy, but that's not quite the case, is it?
Always busy on finals mornings here, Lizzie, without doubt.
We love it. We've got Banks in lane 1 of this one, Swan River in lane 2, a crew from North Esk, supported by the Tasmanian Institute of Sport in 3, Mossman Rowing Club in 4, Griffith Uni Surfers Paradise in 5, Capital Lakes from Canberra in 6, Adelaide Rowing Club in 7, and Sydney University Boat Club in 8.
Still waiting for a start here in the under-21 men's Coxed quad.
So I think pertinent then to let some of our spectators and viewers know that this regatta serves as a selection regatta for our underage teams, and in particular for under-21 and under-23 age groups. The most important events are the small boats, the singles and the pairs, but this is where the under-21s get together, form bigger boats and actually show the selectors what they're worth and how they can move a big boat as well. So every race in these under-21 events is really important, and we've got some really good names here in the under-21 men's quad scull that have done really well in small boats so far.
Yeah, we have indeed. So the selections for under-21s to be finalised a bit later on?
Yep, we'll be coming back here again towards the end of April. I think it's the 23rd. It's always around Easter time because, of course, we need to fit it in with school and university holidays. And we'll be racing up and down this course once again. Small boats and then bigger boats.
Exactly. And speaking of racing, we are back in action on the course now with race 387. It is the under-21 men's quad scull. I think I may have called it a Coxed quad before. It is, of course, a Coxless event. The under-21 men's quad scull and a field of 8 on their way. Sydney Rowing Club, the defending champions in this race. They're not in the field this time around. But North Esk and Mossman, who finished 2nd and 3rd last year, are both there and in the centre lanes of the course as well. Lanes 3 and 4, North Esk and Mossman, and they would be our leading couple of crews through the opening 200 metres here. Still perfect conditions, Lizzie, once again. It's been a bit wet overnight here at Penrith, but it's fined up nicely this morning.
It has, hasn't it? And Ben was saying, I must admit, I was just about to look at the weather forecast because you can see the clouds are lifting, but the water, it's been so wonderful all week, hasn't it? And these boys here really really making the most of it. Mossman now squeezing ahead. Justin Brown in the bow seat. Björn Ungermark, son of coaches Matthias and Judith Ungermark, sitting in the 2 seat. Mitch Blackmore-Cram in the 3 seat, and Connor Hopkins stroking.
Connor Hopkins, the stroke of that crew, finished with the bronze medal in the under-21 men's single scull a couple of days ago. But the race was won by Justin Brown, who is in the bow seat of that Mossman crew as well. So plenty of medals already for that Mossman combination, joined by Björn Ungermark and Mitch Blackmore-Cram. And Björn Ungermark and Justin Brown were also in the Mossman crew last year that finished in a narrow 2nd place behind Sydney.
Yeah, some good, strong boys. Mossman Rowing Club, we were just talking about the Victorians, how they're gradually rebuilding. And I really should apologise to Scotch Oakburn, because I said they were from Victoria. Of course, they're from Tasmania. I have been reminded and corrected. So thank you for our listener, viewer on the live stream who messaged in to let us know. By the way, the live stream is now over 40,000 hits. So thank you very much, everybody who's watching. And we're so glad that we can bring you this, and really huge thanks to John Meakin, who makes all of this footage so wonderful. Indeed, yeah. Welcome to everyone watching on the live stream. I think we can let the name of our informant out. It was the great Roger Wilson, who's watching at home in Melbourne, who sent through that message. So welcome to Roger, who spent many years in this regatta and is still working as hard as ever at regattas across the state of Victoria as a commentator. And clearly keeping his beady eye on those of us who he trained so well over the past. So, absolutely, absolutely. So hello, Roger. They've gone well past 500 metres now in this race, the under-21 Meds Quad Scull. It was Mossman, as we saw, in front there by 1.29 seconds at the 500 metre mark, but they've extended that now to well over a boat length from North Esk beside them in 2nd place. I mentioned the North Esk crew were the silver medalists last year. Connor Ryan, Joseph Wilson, both in that crew, joined this year by Jack Barrett and Lars Gillingham. It was a pretty close finish last year with Sydney, North Esk and Mossman less than a length between our top 3. So the bronze and silver medalists from 2018 looking to go at least one better this time around. Mossman now leading by almost 3 seconds, 2.91 seconds. Over North Esk from Tasmania in 2nd place, and Swan River Lane 2. So still those 3 crews out towards the far side of the course. The Swan River crew is Hugo Nerud, Miles McQuillan, Joe Loveridge and Chad Dericourt, coached by Mark Beer and Neville Kempton. The lane 2 combination there. And then from those magnificent drone shots, you can certainly see the 3 crews towards the left of screen there. This looks like lane 1 Banks have had to stop rowing. That crew at the bottom left of picture have come to a stop. So we'll presumably well, they'll continue rowing. It looks like now that they get moving again, but well out of contention for this race. But Mossman, North Esk and Swan River our top 3. And then a few crews on this side of the course also contending for positions from 4 on down the field. But our top 3 looking comfortably clear at this stage of the race. Mossman from North Esk and then Swan River. They've got about 650 metres or so now to race, and that Mossman crew still holding on by around about a boat length or so. North Esk there beside them. The Swan River crew on the far side of the picture, the 3rd and 4th place getters from the under-21 men's double scull yesterday. Hugo Nerud and Miles McQuillan finished in 3rd, and Joe Loveridge and Chad Dericourt were in 4th place. So a pretty well-credentialed couple of double sculls there, going well in the quad scull event as well, but sitting back still in 3rd place now. Making a little bit of ground up on North Esk, possibly on the far side of the course. And then Mossman still, but the comfortable race leaders. Just starting to overlap, however, is the North Esk crew. So they haven't shaken free, Mossman. They're still holding on to just under a boat length lead as they are well inside the final 350 metres now of this race. It was 2.43 seconds, the Mossman margin at 1,500. It's possibly been narrowed here by North Esk in the closing stages of the race, and Swan River still there
in the bronze medal position as well over on the far side of the course. Griffith University, Surfers Paradise, fourth from Sydney Uni, Adelaide, Capital Lakes, and the Banks crew still well back in the course. But it is the crew from North East setting out after our race leaders from Mossman. Brown, Ungamuck, Blackmore, Cram and Hopkins have led this race from the start, but they are being chased down by Ryan, Wilson, Barrett and Gillingham from the North East club in Tasmania. Silver medalist narrowly last year ahead of Mossman, who took the bronze, but North Esk are trying to catch them in the closing strokes as they close in on the finish line now. Still Mossman have the advantage by around about a third of a length or so. North Esk are chasing Swan River back in third place, but Mossman are holding on here with only 2 or 3 strokes to go, and Mossman will go across and take the win in the under-21 men's quad squall by half a length. Mossman first, North Esk second, third place goes to Swan River. All the crews on the far side of the course. A good race for fourth too, with Griffith University, Surfers Paradise just about to hold off the crew from Sydney Uni. Griffith Uni get fourth, Sydney Uni fifth. Sixth then will be the Adelaide Rowing Club. Seventh, Capital Lakes. And the Banks crew, which had to stop mid-race, has continued and will complete the course in 8th place. And welcome back to Owen Nix.
Thanks, Richard. Unofficial results. Mossman first in the under-21 men's quad in a time of 6:10.80. Second to North Esk, further 1.44 back, and Swan River a further 4.17 back in third place. Griffith University, Service Paradise fourth. City University fifth, Adelaide sixth, Capital Lake seventh, and Banks from Melbourne, Victoria in 8th place. Presentation of medals for the under-19 men's Coxed Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by John Keogh, head coach of the Hancock Prospecting Women's National Training Centre. Third place and bronze medalists, St Peter's College, Pembroke School and Torrens. Represented by Ben Ashman, St Peter's. William Smart of Torrens. Jack Kelch, St Peter's. Max Linton, St Peter's. Oliver Cobain, St Peter's. Nick Blackman, Pembroke School. James Andrew Arthur, St Peter's. Harry Sclater, St Peter's, and coxed by Tim Prince. Second place and silver medalist, Scotch College, Victoria. Gus Permazel. Richie Johnston. Benjamin Simons. William Dixon. John Kilroe Smith. Jack Cameron. Maxwell Bloom. Leo Price. Leo Miller, the coxswain. Coach James Murray. Gold medalists and national champions for 2019. West Australian Rowing Club, Melbourne University Boat Club, Geelong Grammar, Swan River, Mercantile, West Australian Institute of Sport and the VIS, Nick Smith from Melbourne University, Jack Thornton, Melbourne University, Lucas Matic, Mercantile, Riley Rees Turner, Swan River, William Allen, Geelong Grammar, Bobby Jamison, Geelong Grammar, Harry Fox, Melbourne University, and Hamish Enriquez, West Australian Rowing Club. Cox Charlie Bond and coach Matthew Ryan. Please congratulate the 2019 Australian champions and medalists. And open lightweight women's quadruple scull is race 388 on the program, and 3 crews contesting this. University of Western Australia with West Australian Rowing Club and Griffith University Service Paradise in lane 4. That's Gemma Dane, Janelle Austin, Susanna Gravestock and Alexandra Utley. They're coached by Stefano Belosso. Title holders, UTS Composite with the National Training Centre and the New South Wales Institute of Sport. Sophie Gerapetritis, Georgina Masters, Georgia Miansaro, and Sarah Pound, coached by Dave Geely, Lachlan Allen and Don McLaughlin, and Huon Composite with the Tasmanian Institute of Sport. That's Huon, Mersey and Sandy Bay, Annika Reardon of Sandy Bay, Hannah Tippett of Mersey, Eve Muir of Huon and Georgia Nesbitt of Huon, and the National Training Centre, coached by Paul Newbon and David Tippett.
Thanks, Alan. It is that Tasmanian Composite crew just read out there that were our race leaders through 500 metres. The all-Tasmanian combination, Huon, Mersey and Sandy Bay, who had a narrow lead, 0.91 of a second after 500 metres from the all-Sydney composite crew. That's University of Technology, Sydney, and Sydney University sitting very close behind them in second place. And then just over 1.5 seconds back to the West Australian and Queensland composite crew on lane 4 from the University of Western Australia, the West Australian Boat Club, and also Griffith University Surfers Paradise. And now very close between these top 2 crews, possibly that red boat of Tasmania University, or the Tasmanian crews. Often it's a colour you associate with the Tasmania University Boat Club as well, but this time it's Huon, Mersey and Sandy Bay in that composite crew, who are just being narrowly overtaken by the New South Wales composite crew from UTS and Sydney Uni. A few of these rowers, Owen, will be in action in interstate regatta, I think, on tomorrow's program.
Yeah, that's right. So the crew at the top of the screen there is the UTS composite. That's the New South Wales Victoria Cup crew, and alongside of them is the Huon composite, which is the Tasmanian Victoria Cup crew. So New South Wales winning that last year for the first time in 17 years. So that crew unchanged from last year's winning Victoria Cup crew.
So an early preview of tomorrow's interstate regattas, but in the club colours for now. So the UTS Sydney Uni crew, the New South Wales representative crew, now has gone out to about 1/3 of a length, it would be, over the Tasmanian composite crew. The UTS crew is Sophie Gerapetritis, Georgina Masters, Georgia Miansaro of Sydney Uni, and Sarah Pound, also of the University of Technology, Sydney. They're the race leaders, but the crew on screen there in the red boat is the all-Tasmanian combination. Annika Reardon of Sandy Bay, Hannah Tippett from Mersey, Eve Muir of Huon, and Georgia Nesbitt of Huon. About 2/3 of a length now, that New South Wales composite crew holding on over the Tasmanian combination. It was 0.83 of a second at the halfway mark, and then almost 4 seconds back to the University of Western Australia and Griffith University Surfers Paradise combination. Also coming up on screen is a Toowong composite crew. The names we have listed are Gemma Dane of Griffith University Surfers Paradise, Janelle Austin of the West Australian Rowing Club, Susanna Gravestock of the West Australian Rowing Club, and Alexander Utley of the University of Western Australia Boat Club. But that crew sits back in third place. So last year's winners were the UTS composite crew. 3 of these 4 rowers won the race last year. Sophie Gerapatritis, Georgia Mounsaro and Sarah Pound, being joined this year by Georgina Masters, who also, as Owen said, will race for New South Wales in tomorrow afternoon's program, and looking out to a fairly handy lead of close to a length now over the Tasmanian composite crew, Huon Mersey and Sandy Bay in lane 6 in that red boat, the bow just there coming into shot, but almost a boat length between these two. And then further back is the West Australian and Queensland combination on the far side of the course. Sarah Pound in this leading crew, of course, will race for Australia later this year, along with Alice Arch in the lightweight women's double scull at the World Cup regattas in Poznan in Poland and Rotterdam in the Netherlands in late June and then mid-July, and hopefully then on to the World Championships later in the year. The Tasmanians looking to close the margin here on the New South Wales composite crew in the closing strokes, but still the New South Wales crew, predominantly from the UTS club, still look to have enough of a margin. The Tasmanians there in that red boat, it's trying to catch up to them on the closing strokes here, but still it is Sophie Gerapatritis, Georgina Masters, Georgia Mounsaro and Sarah Pound who maintain a lead, which is close to a boat length over the Tasmanian composite crew as they close in on the finish line now, and the national title will stay in New South Wales. The UTS composite crew across in first place by about 3/4 of a length from the Huon composite combination alongside them, and third place will go to the University of Western Australia composite crew on the far side of the course.
So unofficial results, UTS Sydney University first place in 6:47.38. In second was the Huon composite with Mersey and Sandy Bay, and they were a further 1.7 seconds back and 6 seconds to the Toowong composite with University of Western Australia, West Australian Rowing Club and Griffith University Surfers Paradise, who placed third. Presentation of medals for the Under-21 Women's Quadruple Scull Championship of Australia.
Here comes. No. Standing here and talking.
Our presenter will be David Ross, President of Rowing Western Australia. Third place and bronze medalists, representing the Australian National University, Lily Reardon, Alula Beth Collins, Nicola Greenland, Bianca Gillett, and coaches Renee Domashens, Nick Hunter and Nigel Harding. Second place and silver medalists representing Sydney Rowing Club, India Thompson, Lauren Lyon, Crystal Piper unable to make the presentation, and stroke Ella Hudson. Coaches Lachlan Carter and Donovan Seck. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2019, Swan River Rowing Club, Leah Franklin, Emma Wilson, Charlotte Hill. And Lauren Hutton. Coach Mark Beer. Please congratulate 2019 Australian champions and medalists. Move to the course now in the open lightweight men's quadruple scull. Race 389. In lane number 2, we have North-Est, Toowong, ANU and Adelaide Rowing Club Composite. In lane 3, St George, Glebe and the University of New South Wales. In 4, UTS. In 5, Buckingham, Canberra and the Australian National University with the Tasmanian Institute of Sport. In lane 6, Swan River. Lane 7, the University of Queensland. In lane number 8, which is at the bottom of the screen or closest to the grandstand, is Adelaide University, Corio Bay and Tasmania University.
A straight final here in the open lightweight men's quad scull. So you'd anticipate the leaders could come from anywhere on the course. Out early in lane 6 was the Swan River combination, but alongside them there, lane 5, the Buckingham, Canberra and Australian National University crew has taken the lead ever so slightly from Swan River in 6. And also then on the far side of the course there, lane 2, another composite crew, the North-Est Club from Tasmania, Toowong from Queensland, the ANU from the ACT and Adelaide from South Australia. So a four-state and territory composite crew there in second place now, and Swan River just back a little after leading in the early strokes back into third place. You can see how close it was there after 500 metres, under 2 seconds between our top 4 crews. Buckingham Composite lane 5, North-Est Composite lane 2, Swan River in 6 and the University of Technology Sydney in lane 4. So the Buckingham Composite crew there in the centre of the course. Hamish Harding from the Australian National University, Thomas Perry from Canberra, Jacob Crow and Alec Patterson, both from the Buckingham Club in Tasmania, who combined to win the open lightweight men's double scull yesterday, and now showing good form in the quad scull as well, as they certainly lead this race from the second Tasmanian crew. Well, not really Tasmanian. They're from 4 different states and territories. Oscar McGuinness of Adelaide in lane 2, along with Nathan Kennedy of the Australian National University, Tom Ryan of North-Est and Tom Williamson, I should say, of Toowong, and Connor Ryan of North-Est. The crew's coached by Jason Lane, Nick Garrett and Kieran Dwyer out there on the left of the screen, but they are chasing this Tasmanian and ACT composite crew who leads the race. Hamish Harding and Thomas Perry have had a pretty successful regatta as well here, and they hold on by about half a length still over the North-Est composite crew out on the far side of the course. And UTS in lane 4 have moved up into third place over the second 500 metres. That's the lane 4 combination: Peter Waldersee, James Waldersee, Michael McRae and Jack Message.
He seems to get the same results no matter how much training he does.
So around about a third of this race to travel now. The final of the open lightweight men's quad scull. Still it is the Buckingham Composite crew. Our race leaders are on lane 5 and across to lane 2, the North-Est Composite combination. UTS in lane 4. That's 3/4 of the New South Wales crew who'll race for the Penrith Cup in the Interstate Lightweight Fours race tomorrow. And they've moved up certainly to be in bronze medal contention ahead of Swan River lane 6, William Williamson, Michael Orton, Rowan James and Patrick Bohr. And our top 3 now as they come through the 1,500 metre mark. Still it is Buckingham lane 5, then North-Est across in lane 2, UTS lane 4 are there in third place. You can see the margins now starting to grow between most of the crews in this race. Still under 2 seconds from first to second. Buckingham in the centre lane and North-Est Composite out on the far side of the course. UTS now look pretty comfortable in third. They've got almost 7 seconds ahead of Swan River in fourth place. Then it was the University of Queensland racing in lane 7. The Adelaide University, Corio Bay and Tasmania University composite crew closest to the grandstand in lane 8, and Glebe, University of New South Wales and St George over in lane 3 are back in 7th spot. But our medalists approaching the final 150 metres now, and a pretty strong finish coming up here, it looks like, to the Buckingham, Canberra and ANU composite crew. Hamish Harding of the Australian National University, Thomas Perry from the Canberra Rowing Club, and Jacob Crow and Alec Patterson from Buckingham Rowing Club in Tasmania, who won a national title in the double scull yesterday, about to add one in the quad to that collection as well, it would seem. North-Est Toowong, ANU Adelaide trying everything over the far side to make some ground up on our race leaders, but the finish will be too close. It still sits at around a boat length between our leading 2 crews, and lane 5 is Buckingham, Canberra and the Australian National University, who will take out the title in the open lightweight men's quadruple scull championship of Australia. Buckingham composite first, North-Est composite lane 2 in second place. Third then will be the all UTS crew racing in lane 3. Lane 4 in fact. Fourth place will go to lane 6, the Swan River combination. Next time pretty close on this side of the course between University of Queensland and Adelaide University composite crew. They'll be 5th and 6th, and 7th will go to the composite crew of various Sydney clubs, St George, Glebe and University of New South Wales.
So unofficial results, it was the Buckingham, Canberra ANU composite that were first in the open lightweight men's quadruple sculls. An unofficial time of 6:04.72. Second was the North-Est Toowong ANU Adelaide composite. Third UTS, margins there 3.62 and 11.41. Fourth Swan River, 5th UQ, 6th Adelaide University, Corio Bay, Tasmania University, and 7th to the Glebe UNSW composite. Presentation of medals for the Under-21 Men's Quadruple Scull Championship of Australia. Medals will be presented by Brian Weir, Rowing Australia Board Director and Chair of the National Participation Commission. Third place and bronze medalist representing Swan River Rowing Club, Hugo Nerud. Miles McQuillan unable to make the presentation. Joe Loveridge. Chad Derricourt. And coaches Mark Beer and Neville Kempton. Second place and silver medalists, North-Est Rowing Club, Finian Colley, Joseph Wilson, Jack Barrett, and Lars Gillingham. Coach Trevor Barrett. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2019, Mossman Rowing Club, Justin Brown, Bjarne Ungemark, Mitch Blackmore-Cram, Connor Hopkins, and coaches Matthias Ungemark and Judith Ungemark. Please congratulate the 2019 Australian champions and medalists. And we move from finals to semi-finals, and this is the schoolgirl single scull semi-final number 6. And the field that we have in lane 3, Colo High, Claire Robinson, Eloise Mullins of All Hallows did not start. Madison Joiners of St Paul's Grammar in lane 5, Sarah Reynolds of Kinross Walleroy in lane 6, and Olivia Teasdale of Cardinia International College in lane number 7.
So these are the, I guess, the minor semi-finals of the schoolgirls single scull. These scullers out of contention for the A final. They'll come through from semi-finals 1 and 2 in a few races' time. But from this semi-final 6, it was to be the top 4 to the E final, and then 5th place to the F final. That scratching of one sculler may change that progression. I'm wondering if the lowest ranked sculler will possibly end up in the F final, the remaining 3 in the E final, as would usually be the case. But a field of 4 in the Colo High sculler on the far side, now with Lindsay Callahan listed amongst the coaches. I'm assuming that is a Sydney school.
Yeah, so Colo in Western Sydney, and Claire Robinson rose out of Penrith Rowing Club.
So Claire Robinson doing a very good job here, very much a local on the Sydney International Regatta Centre for Colo High. And then the St Paul's Grammar sculler Madison joins with the same set of coaches, Charlotte Toos-Cutler, Lindsay Callahan and Chad Palmer. So 2 Sydney scullers sitting first and second, although the Kinross sculler, in fact, on lane 6, Sarah Reynolds, has moved up into second spot over the third 500 metres and has taken second away from Madison Joins of St Paul's Grammar. So at least the top 3 here will move through to the E final of the schoolgirls single scull, semi-final 6, and the same progression from semi-final 5, which is following down the course. Of course, we go back to 5-minute intervals between races now with these semi-finals, as opposed to 10 minutes when the finals are on. Still a couple of medal presentations to take place shortly, but we are still watching the local sculler who trains at the Nepean Rowing Club here in Penrith. Claire Robinson, of course, rowing for a school, Colo High, in this particular event, and she maintains a lead on the far side of the course. It's probably been reduced a little on the last couple of 100 metres. The Kinross Walleroy sculler, Sarah Reynolds, coached by Harriet Haig, Sarah Cook, and Thomas Joseph would be definitely in second place now. And then the St Paul's Grammar sculler, Madison Joins in lane 5. And then back on this side of the course, Olivia Teasdale from the Cardinia International College in Geelong in Victoria. So the blue boat of Kinross Walleroy always stands out distinctively, but she'd be in second place. Sarah Reynolds on this side of the course. Our race leader still from Colo High is Claire Robinson, who has just started to lift the rating up a point or two to maintain a hold on the race lead here. It's narrowing up with the Kinross sculler, Sarah Reynolds, but they'll both move through to the E final in any case, which will be one of the early races on tomorrow morning's program on the final day of this regatta. But it's still a length or so the lead to Claire Robinson of Colo High, so she will take out semi-final 6 of the schoolgirls single scull. First place to Claire Robinson, second to Sarah Reynolds, third then in lane 5, Madison Joins from St Paul's Grammar, and fourth place will go to Olivia Teasdale.
Presentation of medals for the Open Lightweight Women's Quadruple Scull Championship of Australia. The medals will be presented by the Honourable Patrick McNamara, Councillor, Rowing Victoria, and former President of Rowing Australia. Both third and first place crews unable to make the presentation. We now present second place and silver medalists representing Huon, Mersey, Sandy Bay, the National Training Centre and the Tasmanian Institute of Sport. Annika Reardon, Sandy Bay. Hannah Tippett, Mersey. Eve Muir, Huon. And Georgia Nesbitt, Huon. Their coaches, Paul Newman and David Tippett. Please congratulate 2019 medalists. And race 391 is the semi-final number 5 of the schoolgirls single scull. We've seen a withdrawal of Claire Saggers of Brisbane Girls Grammar. So we have PLC Perth, Pippa Ford in lane 2, Charlotte Ferguson of PLC Perth in lane 3. In lane number 5, St Mary's Tasmania, Maddie Lamb. And PLC Perth, Sarah Lai in lane 6. And PLC Perth, Pippa Han in lane number 7.
So the field stacked with rowers from the PLC school in Perth, but it is in fact the one non-PLC sculler who leads the race, Maddie Lamb of St Mary's Tasmania in lane 5, and a very comfortable lead as well. 10.5 seconds it was at the 1,000 metre mark of this race, and she'll soon be at the 1,500 mark as well. And she goes through that now, in fact, Maddie Lamb of St Mary's Tasmania, 6:37.50 her time, and certainly a very significant margin. Now out to 14.13 seconds over the chasing pack from PLC Perth. Sarah Lai, lane 6, would be in second place. Third place, Pippa Han in lane 7. So the two scullers on the right-hand side of the picture there. And then Pippa Ford would be the 4th place sculler from PLC Perth over in lane 2, ahead of Charlotte Ferguson in lane 3. So the top 4 will move through to the E-final. This is semi-final 5 of the schoolgirls single scull. Top 4 to the E-final, and 5th placed only through to the F-final. And it does look like Charlotte Ferguson at this stage is there in 5th place. The other 4 likely to move through, but a pretty comfortable race here for Maddie Lamb, the sculler, coached by Mark Stott. She's rowing for St Mary's Tasmania, her school in this event. Of course, all the entries in these school events must be for the school, even though many of these athletes also do compete in various club events, this regatta as well. But it's St Mary's Tasmania ahead of 4 scullers from PLC Perth, Sarah Lai and Pippa Han closest to the grandstand. We'll find out 2nd and 3rd, although it looks almost certain that Sarah Lai will stay in 2nd spot. All 4 PLC scullers are coached by David Milne at the PLC school in Perth. But it will be Maddie Lamb of St Mary's Tasmania, still a bit over 100 metres out from the finish line, but she'll race again tomorrow morning in the E-final of the schoolgirls single scull. As I said before, that'll be one of the early races on the Day 7 program at the Aon Sydney International Rowing Regatta. The school finals largely fill the morning program. Then, of course, the Interstate Regatta comes tomorrow afternoon, concluding with the Queen's Cup and then the King's Cup for women's and men's eights. The 2 races to conclude the regatta. But Maddie Lamb about to conclude this race for St Mary's in Tasmania as she cruises across the line now comfortably in 1st place. So Maddie Lamb takes the win. 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th will all be PLC Perth. It will be the lane 6 sculler, Sarah Lai, taking out 2nd place. 3rd will go to Pippa Han. And then the 2 on the far side, Pippa Ford will finish in 4th place. Those 4 will go through to the E-final. And to the F-final will go Charlotte Ferguson, also of PLC Perth.
And unofficial results for semi-final of schoolgirl 5 of the semi-final 5 of the schoolgirl single scull. St Mary's Tasmania, Maddie Lamb 1st, PLC Perth, Sarah Lai 2nd, Pippa Han of PLC Perth in 3rd, Pippa Ford PLC Perth in 4th, and Charlotte Ferguson PLC Perth in 5th. 8:54.1 is the time. Margins 10.58, 9.91, and 17.17. And on the course now, semi-final number 4 of the schoolgirls single scull, and we have in lane number 2 from Redlands, Maddie Howard. Lane 3, Cleo Wilson, St Ignatius, South Australia. Lane 4 is Eloise Young from Brisbane Girls Grammar School. Corby Holmberg of Newcastle Grammar in lane 5. Caitlin McManus Barrett of Sydney Girls High in lane 6. Representing Hobart in lane 7, Amy Bain and Genizano's Jemima Dwyer occupying station number 8. Presentation of medals for the Open Lightweight Men's Quadruple Scull Championship of Australia. And the medals will be presented by the Honourable Patrick McNamara, Councillor of Rowing Victoria and former President of Rowing Australia. Third place and bronze medalists, UTS Rowing Club. Peter Waldersey. James Waldersey. Michael McRae. Jack Message. And coaches Alex Field, David Geely and Hallie Chapman. Second place and silver medalists, North Esk, Toowong, Australian National University and Adelaide Rowing Club with the Tasmanian Institute of Sport and the ACT High Performance Program. Oscar McGuinness from Adelaide Rowing Club. Nathan Kennedy from the Australian National University Boat Club. Tom Williamson of Toowong. And Connor Ryan of North Esk. Coaches Jason Lane, Nick Garrett and Kieran Dwyer. Gold medalists and Australian champions for 2019, Buckingham, Canberra and the Australian National University and the Tasmanian Institute of Sport. Hamish Harding for ANU. Tom Perry, Canberra Rowing Club. Jacob Crow, Buckingham. And Alec Patterson, Buckingham. Please congratulate the 2019 Australian champions and medalists.
And behind that presentation, we can see the concluding stages of semi-final 4 of the schoolgirls single scull. Newcastle Grammar's Corby Holmberg had led this race right from the start, but in the closing stages, Amy Bain of Hobart, who was only third at halfway, second at 1500, and she might just be to have taken the lead here in the closing strokes. The top 4 will all move through to the C final, so they'll both qualify easily. But Amy Bain of Hobart and Corey Holmberg of Newcastle Grammar, and certainly it is the Hobart Sculler Lane 7, coached by Mark Stott, who's got a head in the closing strokes. Still take the win in semi-final 4. Second place to Newcastle Grammar's Corby Holmberg. Also going through Caitlin McManus Barrett of Sydney Girls. And then 4th spot goes to St Ignatius Cleo Wilson. Those have been the top 4 right throughout this race, followed home most likely by the Redlands Sculler, Maddie Howard in lane 2. And then on this side of the course, Genizano from Melbourne, Jemima Dwyer will finish in 6th place, and Eloise Young of Brisbane Girls Grammar School in 7th.
And unofficial results of semi-final 4 of the schoolgirls single scull. Amy Bain, winner in a time of 8:25.20. Corby Holmberg, Newcastle Grammar in 2nd. 3rd, Caitlin McManus Barrett. 4th, Cleo Wilson, those 4 through to final C. And through to final D will be 5th place, Redlands, Maddie Howard. 6th, Genizano's Jemima Dwyer, and Brisbane Girls Grammar, Eloise Young in 7th. Semi-final 3, Schoolgirls single scull, and we have Charlotte Barry of Sydney Girls in lane 1, Bronte Cathcart, Brisbane Girls in lane number 2, Alex White in lane 3 for Furbank Grammar, Tonya Lockteff of Adelaide High in 4, Laura Cypher, Rockhampton Grammar in lane 5, Sarah Fard, Tara Anglican School for Girls in lane 6, Ailish McGrath of Gippsland Grammar in 7, and Cardinia International College, Meg Cartwright in lane number 8.
A bit closer in this race. The last one, the top 4 were pretty clear from a fair way out, but there's been a bit of moving around amongst our top few scullers, and most impressively by Sarah Fard of the Tara School, who's now up to be our race leader at the halfway mark, and she'd opened up close to a length over Laura Cypher of the Rockhampton Grammar School, who's been in many of the club events too. Laura Cypher, I think, rode in a final early this morning as well, but now rowing for the Rockhampton Grammar School there in lane 5. She'd be sitting in 2nd place after being 3rd in the opening 500, and the Brisbane Girls Grammar School sculler Bronte Cathcart was the leader after 500, back to 3rd place at the 1,000 metre mark, and they're quickly approaching the 1,500 metre mark now as well. So semi-final 3, the same progression as for the previous race. 1, 2, 3 and 4 will move through to the C final. The remainder of the field to the D final of the Schoolgirls single scull. And you can see that Sarah Fard now has really cleared out on the rest of the field. 4 3/4 seconds over Laura Cypher, the sculler from the Rockhampton Grammar School. And Meg Cartwright from the Cardinia International College continues to move up the field from 5th to 4th and now 3rd place. And she does sit in a qualifying position along with Bronte Cathcart of Brisbane Girls Grammar School, who's just there ahead of Tonya Lockteff of Adelaide High. That's the battle for 4th and 5th, with only one of those two likely to go through. Then Alex White of Furbank Grammar, Charlotte Barry of Sydney Girls, and Ailish McGrath of Gippsland Grammar as well. So the top 4 to move through, and certainly it is lane 6, Sarah Fard of the Tara School, coached by Laura Brianesi, Graham Gardner and Robin Mackney. And then the Rob Fay coach sculler from Rockhampton Grammar School, Laura Cypher. Those two very comfortable at the front of the field, but interest behind them in the race for the remaining qualifying spots. Meg Cartwright of the Cardinia International College is on the grandstand side of the course, so a couple of lanes across from our leaders. Bronte Cathcart from Brisbane Girls Grammar School in lane 2, who's got some work to do now, I would think. Tonya Lockteff of Adelaide High, who's coached by Daniel Ralph, has come through quite strongly in this last 500 metres, and it's probably up into 4th spot, or at least definitely challenging Bronte Cathcart there in lane 2. And the sculler from Cardinia International College, Meg Cartwright, coached by Wayne Nitschke. So that's the battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th. 2 of those 3 will go through behind Sarah Fard of the Tara School and Laura Cypher of Rockhampton Grammar. And it will be Sarah Fard with a very comfortable win by a couple of lengths. In fact, she's still got a few strokes to go, but she is well clear. So it'll be Sarah Fard first for the Tara School in semi-final 3 of the Schoolgirls single scull. Laura Cypher will finish in 2nd place. The Cardinia sculler looks like she might just get 3rd down below us here. Meg Cartwright ahead of Tonya Lockteff from Adelaide High. That'll be the order, and they are the 4 qualifiers through to the C final. So Meg Cartwright 3rd, Tonya Lockteff in 4th place. 5th then will be Bronte Cathcart from Brisbane Girls Grammar School. 6th, just Alex White of Furbank Grammar. Ailish McGrath of Gippsland Grammar 7th, and Charlotte Barry from Sydney Girls in 8th place.
So the winner in unofficial time of 8 minutes 24.22, Sarah Fard of Tara School, and joining her in the C final, Rocky Grammar's Laura Cypher, Cardinia International College, Meg Cartwright, and Adelaide High's Tonya Lockteff as we move to semi-final 2. So a chance to progress through to the A final of this event. The field that we have: Elizabeth Carter, Newcastle Grammar in lane 1, Eve Timms of Barker College in lane 2, Jacinta Buckman, Radford College in 3, Cara Brigode, St Clair's College in the ACT in lane number 4, Luca Carrell, Christian College Geelong in lane 5, Ruby O'Keefe, Queensgate School London in lane number 6, St Peter's Girls Adelaide, Sarah Carradis in 7, Elizabeth McPherson, Brisbane Girls Grammar School in lane number 8.
So these are the two semi-finals now of the schoolgirls single scull that will decide our A and B finalists. Semi-finals 2 and 1, races 394 and 395 on the program before we return to a few finals in the races to follow just after 10 o'clock. But these two schoolgirls semis first of all, and you can see the lane 6 sculler there all the way from the United Kingdom, rowing of course for the Queensgate School, Ruby O'Keefe, who's training here in Sydney under the guidance of Alfie Young, but obviously entering the school event under the name of her school, the Queensgate School from London. Not one I've had the pleasure of calling a race from before, but it is the sculler from London, Ruby O'Keefe, who does lead this race from possibly the Barker College sculler, Eve Timms, over on the, or close to the far side in lane 2. And also the Christian College Geelong sculler, Luca Carrell, in probably second or third. Then two scullers from the ACT, Cara Bragood from St Clair's College and Jacinta Buckman from Radford College, both in the Australian Capital Territory. So Ruby O'Keefe from Queensgate School, a very comfortable lead here, 7.2 seconds over Luca Carrell. It is still the Christian College Geelong sculler there in second place. Then Barker College, Eve Timms, who's coached by Robin Mackney, be in third place. And the interest really again in that race for 4th and 5th. The top 4 to move through to the A final, the next 4 to the B final. St Clair's College, Cara Bragood currently there in 4th place. Then Elizabeth Carter from Newcastle Grammar right across in lane 1. Sarah Carradis of St Peters, Jacinta Buckman from Radford College, and Elizabeth McPherson also from Brisbane Girls Grammar School, the remainder of the field. But certainly Ruby O'Keefe is very comfortably clear. Luca Carrell alongside her in lane 5. They are the top 2. And then it does get a bit more interesting behind them. The sculler from St Clair's College, Cara Bragood, still there, probably just third. Barker College, Eve Timms over on the far side, and Newcastle Grammar's Elizabeth Carter alongside her as well. That's probably where the interest lies, the battle for 4th and 5th place. Then back to Sarah Carradis, Elizabeth McPherson, and also Jacinta Buckman. Now just the top 4 to go through, and certainly you can pencil in Ruby O'Keefe from the Queensgate School in the United Kingdom as our top qualifier from this second semi-final of the schoolgirls single scull. Have a look at Elizabeth Carter there on the far side of the course from Newcastle Grammar. She needs to move up a length or so on Eve Timms from Barker College alongside her. Those two really racing out to the line here. Cara Bragood of St Clair's in the ACT has also seen the danger with those two scullers on the far side, really racing for home. And Luca Carrell still there in second place for Christian College Geelong. They're all moving now in the closing strokes. But our race leader, Ruby O'Keefe from the Queensgate School in the United Kingdom, she'll take the win comfortably so. Luca Carrell should hold on to second. Eve Timms has got a boat up into third now, and still that Newcastle Grammar sculler racing hard on the far side. Might snatch 4th place. She will indeed. It's Eve Timms in 3rd place. Elizabeth Carter 4th. 5th and just missing out will be Cara Bragood from St Clair's College in the ACT. And the next 3 home also from the ACT, Jacinta Buckman of Radford College, followed by lane 7, Sarah Carradis of St Peters, and lane 8, Elizabeth McPherson of Brisbane Girls Grammar School.
And unofficial results, Ruby O'Keefe first in a time of 8 minutes 13.47. Luca Carrell, Christian College Geelong second. Third, Barker College, Eve Timms. And 4th, Newcastle Grammar, Elizabeth Carter. Margin 7.65, 1.15 and 0.66. Cara Bragood in 5th place. Buckman in 6th. 7th, Carradis, and 8th, McPherson. Moving up the course to semi-final number 1 of the schoolgirls single scull, in the field that we have in lane number 1, Zoe Kimber of Redlands. Lane 2, Rockhampton Grammar, Keely Dunn. Lane 3, Mary McKillops, Anne Wasson. Lane 4, Genizano's Odette Lynch. Louisa Bongrain represents Maribyrnong in lane number 5. Grace Cipher of Rockhampton Grammar in 6. Laura Wunderlich of Hornsby Girls in lane 7. And Sydney Secondary College, Maxine Franz in lane number 8.
Thanks, Alan. It's been a big 20 minutes or so for the Cipher family. Laura racing in semi-final 3 a couple of races ago, and Grace Cipher now is our race leader for the Rockhampton Grammar School in semi-final 1. So looking very well placed here to move through to the A final of the schoolgirls single scull. Rockhampton Grammar School, Grace Cypher on lane 6, and she has clear water there, you can see, on the rest of the field. But a really good battle for second, third and fourth. Those scullers in the next 3 lanes. Mary McKillops and Wasson just from Odette Lynch of Genazzano in Melbourne, and Louisa Bongrain of the Maribyrnong Secondary College. So a couple of Victorian scullers there, and Wasson, coached by Ray Smith and Keith Watts, rowing for the Mary McKillops School. And also, I'm presuming, a member of the Pine Rivers Rowing Club up in Queensland.
Yes, that is correct, Richard.
I knew you'd have the answer, right?
Given I'm a live member.
Exactly. So it is the Queensland sculler, Mary McKillop, probably in second place. So running 1 and 2 at this stage, the Queenslanders, Grace Cypher of Rockhampton Grammar and Anne Wasson of Mary McKillop. And then 2 Victorians, Odette Lynch of Genazzano and Louisa Bongrain of the Maribyrnong Secondary College. Well, they at this stage are the top 4, but very tight still with Maxine France of Sydney Secondary College. Keely Dunn of Rockhampton Grammar sits a few seconds back in 6th place as we get the 1,500 metre splits now. And the lead for Rockhampton Grammar School's Grace Cypher has been narrowed slightly by Louisa Bongrain alongside her in lane 5. Louisa, the winner of the Open Schoolgirls single scull at the head of the Schoolgirls Regatta in Geelong a couple of weeks ago. And a younger sister, the winner, I think, of the Year 9 event at the same regatta. So another very successful rowing family, the Bongrains, as are the Cyphers who lead this race through Grace Cypher in lane 6 for the Rockhampton Grammar School. Genazzano's Odette Lynch narrowly third at 1,500, ahead of Anne Wasson from Mary McKillop. But still, they are out top 4. Maxine France of Sydney Secondary College on the grandstand side of the course, about 2.5 seconds back now in 5th place. Then Keely Dunn of Rockhampton Grammar, Laura Wunderlich of Hornsby Girls, and Zoe Kimber from Redlands, with only about 300 metres now to race.
So yes, Grace Cypher, I mentioned a couple of days ago, her mum and dad, Kim and George, doing a great job supporting the whole Rockhampton Grammar program up on the hill up there under their tent, and looks like Grace is going to win semi-final 1, but Louisa Bongrain is coming home very hard and looking to challenge her for a centre lane in the final, Richard.
Yeah, she is indeed. I've seen Louisa Bongrain finish strongly in a number of races recently. She's doing it again here and moving right up almost alongside Grace Cypher, who hasn't really responded yet and doesn't need to either. They'll both go through to the A final, but the middle lane is up for grabs here between these 2 scullers in the centre of the course. Grace Cypher of Rockhampton Grammar and Louisa Bongrain of Maribyrnong. The Mary McKillop sculler and Wasson now certainly third from Odette Lynch of Genazzano, but they'll be the 4 qualifiers, I would think. Maxine Franz finishing quickly in lane 8, but a bit too far back as they approach the line. It will be lane 6. Grace Cypher wins it from Louisa Bongrain. It's getting close for 4th, in fact, but 3rd will go to Anne Wasson of Mary McKillop. The lane 4 sculler really struggled home the last few strokes, and 4th spot will indeed go to Maxine Franz of Sydney Secondary College, ahead of Odette Lynch from Genazzano. And then it's the red boat, Keely Dunn of Rockhampton Grammar School, followed by Laura Wunderlich of Hornsby Girls and Zoe Kimber of Redlands. And that concludes the last semi of the girls' singles sculls.